Sea-gone girl. The sea-gone girl is all at sea, stockings rolled below the knee, careless slung, the dish towel hung, cat got its parting, scat, scat, scat. For her the very breeze of a marine was signal for abandoning. The screen door bangs, the little street is window wide abuzz with her retreat. She makes it to the sad hotel, is keel-hauled by the fire bell pull in lobby. Then she rises to the tropic islands, rolling home in beer and frolic. Others have that bleached hair, part done, part rendered just uncombable by wind and sun. Others wear fishnet gowns in this and other towns, have nails like Turner sunsets going down, knuckles that are wrinkled as a fishwife's bum, have voices stored in shells that make a deep sea hum. But who else has 3 captive princesses, mild-mannered, magical, wearing midi dresses? The 6-year-old has her bath drawn ready, the 7-year-old holds the coffee pot steady, and the 8-year-old draws the net of her nightdress over her head and casts the sea-gone mother into bed. My granddaughters are combing out their long hair. My granddaughters are combing out their long hair, sitting at night on the rocks in Venezuela. They have watched their babes falling like white birds from the last of the treetop cradles. They have buried them in their hearts, where they will never forget to keep on singing them the old songs. Brought down to earth, they use twigs, flint scrapers, Acadian, their laughter underground makes the time flower in darkness. My granddaughters are thin as fish bones and horn-footed, but they are always beautiful under the stars. Like little Asian paper things, they seem to open outward into their own water bowl. Mornings they waken to lights chink, ricocheting off an old Black's Harbor sardine can. Reduce them the last Evangelines, make them part of the stars. My granddaughters are combing out by night, combing their burr-colored hair by the rocks and stream trickle in Venezuela. They are burnt out as falling stars, but they laugh and keep on singing them the old songs. Idea for an elegy, finished up for the Brinks. Behind St. Peter's strolls the cinder path. A hazy day and 2 nuns pass. I stand by. One has a face like a freckled egg, Irish, and accented. I would say straight Sandwich or some border town. The other older, sallower, Belgian-born from La Salette. Joyful, their 4 eyes soar and won't cast down. So many more gulls, so many strange gulls, so many strange gulls, more since the seaway. When they turn off toward the grotto, it is as damp as if they had dumped the grotto down on the riverbank. 5 o'clock is calling the lost hours home. Fly back, calls Middlesex. Right now, calls St. Peter's. Bell towers take the time from glint of wings, clear up the Thames. My wheels are still silver on the cinder path. Those gulls are abundant. Beady eyes that have taken in Detroit, insouciance of Montreal. Multitudes of gulls, freckled, fresh-starched, travel-creased, or whatever. So many gulls, up from the seaway, take up a sad calling of Sylvia Plath. Oh, Sylvia Plath. Kings Park, Manitoba, south. Ukrainian wedding of the canned vegetables. The canned chucks chock-full cupboards are in an uproar. It's the first wedding for this year. Now, sealers in the cellar, we've at last heard the canned chucks leave. Off for some country wedding, oh, the horns, the yells, for whiskey, cash, and pretty girls. Now we're alone at last, don't loiter. Come dance at the wedding of my daughter. Glowing like an old beet in the dawn with goodwill is the bride's father, a quart of borscht. He holds fast Mama's hand, a sun-washed flaxen cob of corn, presenting proudly on the other side a radiant gem jar of a bride. Oh, succulent yellow top, that fall mushroom. She stands beside her pickled onion groom. Oh, concentrated small are happy, happy acres there, full amplified in every jar. Oh, golden sum of gardens, breezes move and undulate a ferny grove, while calm she muses on her love, all in a wondrous ring, gay interlacing carrots sing, oh, so sweet, so very sweet, 'tis our felicity and your bliss. So circle round her now and sing her female cousins, peas, corn, mixed veg, there by dozens, all merry, all bright. Only one old Miss Dill, 68, sniffs. Young people nowadays can't wait. Then the groom's father, firm on his chicken legs, rapt silence for a toast seriously begs. Friends, our garden days are done, but ever in our hearts may shine the sun, sweetening our days the whole bleak winter long. Then come the drinks, the kissing, the wishes for long happiness and fruitful lives. Trays whirled by, the long table loses dishes of western dainties, and the cash pile thrives. Quite abandoned tomatoes dance, heads thrown back, madly about the room collide. A roue Uncle Pickle runs amok and wrests the shoes right off the bride. Ah, but they'll fade away, merry now until the dawn, and then they'll hear the canchucks come, and then they'll neatly glide, bride and bridegroom side by side, to face sure winter hastening on. Kings Park, Manitoba, East.Timesend's Grove. In the green oak grove at Timesend's is blowing a pink rose special to that shade, peculiar, wild, and soft, not lasting. It has affinity with what my dolphin baby said to me. We're all aswim in one big sea. Outlying on the green grass beside the hedge and under the scrub oak trees, I was watching two children coming through the dust knee-high, and the bees were about and were zooming after those yellow warblers that go lacing through the hedge. And with never a sign they drifted over to the grove and snitched each one a whole banner of roses that they held close to their jerseys till they were nearly out of sight, when suddenly they loosened up and began madly swinging roses. Then only the midday left very hot, and I was listening to the wash, wash voice of my baby, who was asleep and who suddenly said, "We're all aswim in one big sea." Oh, joy, the lightest tap can stir a failing sun, can give the laboring globe a spin that starts a staggering, miraculous run of roses, trees, and we who do all swim in one big sea.
Beatie's palaces. "Geez, you got good leaves," says Beatie. Leaves are her luxury. No trees, no leaves on the cinder hill where she lives by the dump. Mother Madam Witch wind lashes trees for her, we all fall down. Without asking, she grabs the rake. She eyes our corner lot. Beatie is by far the best raker, maker. Her house begins to grow, a rich emerald carpets every room. 13 rooms, maybe, she says tersely. Anyways, a room for each of you. Palaces are what Beatie makes, raking. And I can still see, squinting through a chink of time, Beatie's hands, short-fingered, chipped, the polish on her nails, but she's allowed. Her short, strong hands lengthening fiercely into our rake, small lady of the strangely long arm, she maneuvers right around the corner onto East. "I sure like your leaves," says Beatie. Grade 7 will be her last year at school. She flies around, adjusting the wind-bruised walls. Her red sweater is nubby and too small. Her skirt hitches up. Her legs are chapped. Her pushes are energetic. "In there, in, and don't come out till I say so." We fall separately onto our 2 short leaf beds. Try not to annoy Beatie. Amazed and proud, she likes our leaves. What did we dream of there on Beatie's palace beds? Infinite luxury, oriental harems. We drifted, anticipating. The leaves rustled innuendos about Beatie's mother. Infinite luxury, oriental harems. Abruptly, "All right, you can come out now." "What's for supper?" one of us asks audaciously. "Macaroni with ketchup," says Beatie positively, "and don't ask for seconds because you'll get none." We look with respect at Beatie, who hands out leaf plates in the big kitchen room. Even the kids taller than Beatie look with respect and envy at the short, leaf-stained fingers and the ruby glass ring she has privately promised to each of us if we are good. Beatie doesn't shift her ring around, finger to finger. About 13, she is already married to life. We got called into supper, to do homework, to practice, to get our hair washed. Beatie didn't go home till it got good and dark. Beatie didn't have to. She raked by streetlight with a harp sound attached to the long arm. We missed it when it stopped, for it had gotten into our blood, the idea of Beatie raking, making. From the window, a last look before the wind scatters. There's Beatie's palace growing gold and green. Mother, Madam Witch, wind lashes trees for her. We all fall down. In which I put on my mother's old Dansant dress. "Yes," said Janice, "you can put on a costume." So I go for a favorite, my mother's old Dansant dress, black georgette and handmade lace. When I was a child, I looked through snowy windows, seeing her leave for tea for two. Leaves whirled, the hem dragged in the mud when granddaughters sorted out for Halloween. And then I rescued, laundered, aired and pressed, black georgette and handmade lace. Now it's a humid Sunday in the scorching summer of '88. Jamie retreats to the doorway. Janice, taking the photos, says, "Nearly done now." I think my whole lifespan is in this dress, and as I strew these words, rose petals are falling from the matching hat she made. Letter 8. Place was that piece of ground between house and swing yielding to the foot, covered with reddened strawberry leaves and that small vine that isn't wintergreen. Among the cedars, some of them struggling still like old limbo dancers, covered with a lighter green lichen. There, on the day that William Faulkner died, I came and stood, and even if I had not willed it so, down my head would have gone down, thinking definitely about something. God, how I love this little part of ground. White bracelets. We all have old scars, and sometimes in winter I can still see what was white bracelets. Let's call them white bracelets, just as my grandmother used to say when we fell down steep stairways, "Stop crying or you'll miss hearing the stairs. They're still dancing." What was once white bracelets? What before that showed pink? What before that was raw and festering? What before that was agony down to the bones? What before that was almost blacked out and being dragged by the tractor in the barbed wire? What before that was surprise and yelling, "Can't you stop, stop?" What before that was lying in the grass, reading a blue letter, looking up into sun and clouds that were rift and quiet like white bracelets?
A garden on Saltspring. A garden on Saltspring stays in the mind. That day we forgot the camera. Of course, that makes the poppies brighter. That makes of hollyhocks a hillside. I can take that snap out any time and feel that day growing over me like lamb's wool. The others I have to go look up in the album. Aroha's fossil. Aroha's fossil goes clear through the washing cycle, still in the pocket of her Wrangler jeans, and comes out deep-sea clean and pure as someone's eyes are seas, who's fallen right through the world, straight through to China, as we used to say. Keel-hauling, gutting, name it. Nothing of that shows. She says, "Hey, here's my fossil back," and warms it in her hand. Aunt Ray. Aunt Ray, my belief that small people are extra strong, comes 5 feet tall through the fields with a honey pail full of lemonade. The horses are shining with dust and sweat, and the men jump off the load, their eyes almost grimed in, the real chips of meaning left far back at morning. Now, years later, I'm snapping for these memories, saying, eyes, think fields and golden pails all this day, and this night you're going to squint shut, and soon I'll be coming 5 feet tall through the fields of horses. Isolation. When the mists lift across the valley, you can see Perugia from Assisi. Even Paris, Moscow, has the sound of a not impossible bound. Oh, but Winnipeg to anywhere, why do I cry out as if pained moments of silence are stretching infinitely in the distance? Not just any vacuum cleaner, but Harry. Harry has been nagging me to get into a poem. I can sing with the best, he argues, pausing, coughing, clearing his best bass notes while smoothing out the hall runner. He takes a lead tenor in the deeps of air registers and pretends to be a whole Welsh choir. Emerges, chagrined, with his hose plugged. Oh, Harry, you'll never learn. I clear his throat, plug him in, and there he goes again. Aria Harry fills the house, familiar, confident. Tomorrow's the world, his motto, rattling his attachments. And I am awed by his verve, his swagger, and point out that he's no longer young. True, but I'm experienced, purrs Harry, which doesn't mean he should nag me to get into a poem. This iron seems to know its way, collar and inside, back, fronts, and sleeves. It's all too easy, though, and the sweet grass smell rising from the cotton takes me to that tall red house, and the sun bringing in sharp spurts of melting icicles, collar and inside, back, fronts, and sleeves, and the big Tear River, that iron and homesick one are swimming in, and now it's that farmhouse, windbound, where the irons wait, lined on the stove, and get snapped up in their handles and slapped at those shirts, viciously reddening. Collar and inside, back, fronts, and sleeves. Men, men, men.